Hello, everyone. I'm just going to make a short video. I just want to talk about something that just recently happened. I've been thinking about it. I said, well, let me make a quick video. I want to talk about my opinion. This is just me. This is how I feel. Um, we're going through some rough waters right now. There's people out there that's trying to get you to vote for them. There's people out there that want you to be okay with what's happening out there in the streets. And a lot of us have our opinion. And I listen to young people. I have young kids. Well, not young, but they're in their 30s. And they really not too concerned. And I'm thinking, all this stuff going on, especially what's been happening to our young black and brown sisters and brothers and mothers and fathers. And how can you not feel sympathy? How can you not feel kind of bad for wanting to go out and go on a vacation, go on a trip, enjoy yourself, smile, and have a good time, knowing that people out there is so sad? And these are just your everyday people. And knowing that just this year that our government bombed a girls' school in Iran and then participating in all those killings in Gaza and bombing 8 countries. It's really hard. And then we're finding out that all these uh, millionaires and billionaires are getting all these tax cuts. They said, I read that Amazon got a $16 billion tax cut. And I hear so many of us regular people looking at our paycheck like, uh, and we complain, but you know what's going on? Yeah, we set aside that. We said we're going to enjoy ourselves. Enjoy yourself while you can, because any of that could happen to us at any time. When I hear people get up there and say, "Oh, you hear, but you never think it's going to happen to you." Why do you say that? You mean you don't want it to happen to you? Because how in the world do you think that can't happen to you? You have some invisible shield or something? No, evidently you don't, because you're up there saying that. But come on. I wish I didn't have to worry so much, but it's so much going on. We have all these missing people and children and trafficking and kidnappings and oh, and I just want to say this. I thought about this. I said, you know what? Especially as black and brown people, all this stuff that's happening to us, all this being fired from our jobs and losing our positions because we're black, this DEI initiative, and uh, trying to rewrite history, which you can't do, but that's their talking points. And I said, you know what? I just went on a vacation. I just went to San Diego, and you know what? I'm proud. I'm part of the problem because that money that I spent, it went in rich folks' hands. People who are probably at the boardroom, sitting at their desk right now, thinking of a plan to make me and my life and people that look like me life miserable. And I'm steady putting money in their hands. Whose hands do you think that plane ticket that I bought? It's not going in no black people's hands. I mean, yes, there's a lot of black people that work at the airports. They better be glad that they didn't get fired, like those government jobs. Even though it is a sort of a government job, and a hotel room, that money didn't go in no black people's hands. Disney World, I mean, uh, Sea World, that money ain't going no black people's hands. All those restaurants. So, what are Black America? When are you gonna wake up? If we ain't gonna do nothing about it, we need to shut the fuck up and stop complaining. If we ain't gonna do nothing to solve the problem. But no, we too busy. We gotta have our fun. We gotta go. You could have fun, but you could put that money in other uh, black and brown people's hands. Because whether you want to admit it or not, we at war. We've been at war really since 2016, and that's what happened. They let Biden win, and we thought we was out the in the clear. And what did they do the whole 4 years? Not a damn thing. But let that Trump get back in office. That should have been their second priority, making sure he never, ever, 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 ever get back in office. Anybody that looks like it, get back in office. But no, they didn't do that. That's why I don't believe nothing these Europeans say. I don't care who they vote for. Because they ain't going to never, ever tell the truth. Now, we all wonder. We need to study this. We need to study how did Obama sneak in there twice. And then put somebody like Trump in office. What the world? See, we don't study the right thing. And we need to find out how Thurgood turned into Thomas. We need to figure some stuff out here before it's too late. And you know what? When it's too late, your kids and my kids is gonna be back in the fields. The crackers will be back in charge. They're already trying it. Don't you see? Start focusing on what's happening in the South. And thanks, that if we let that happen, it ain't gonna be nobody's fault but our own. Just like it ain't nobody's fault that we still in this stolen land, trying to act like we doing something. And we keep repeating that lie. This is the greatest country on earth. That is the biggest lie. Because if we were to leave and build up Africa and other countries where we are predominantly at, Uh, if we was to go over there and take over and stop letting them pillage these countries, taking their minerals, taking all their resources, and making these Europeans rich, I know, I know. 4 years, 400 years of brainwashing is going to take 400 years to unbrainwash. And I know I'm not going to see it, but it's going to. This experiment, this degradation has to come to an end because I know that our Creator is not going to let their creation destroy this earth. I know that. That's why I was smart enough to know that this so called, but they claim Jesus is going to come back and start Armageddon, and it's going to destroy all the bad people, and then the good people are going to be able to live on the earth. Show me one good person that's better than the next person that's going to deserve to inherit the earth. When we all know that man is bound, determined to wreak havoc on the earth. Because they're not just destroying mankind, they're destroying the earth. This beautiful, wonderful earth that sustains us, all of us. All right. Thank you for listening. And read a book. Read a book. Look, that's where all the information is. That's where all the information is. I always say, we get look at the History Channel. I know y'all love y'all Netflix and your Stars, Paramount Plus, and all that. What is it doing for you? We're making you get in your feelings. And most of us is making us act a fool. Okay? You know what? I'm gonna say this before I go. We had good directors, and I don't know. It seemed like ever since color TV and movies came around, the product went downhill. It's really hard to look at a good movie in color. That's why I'm very critical of a lot of movies because I looked at black and white up until I was 7 years old. Okay, and uh, and these directors, especially black directors that we have, I would give them a dime. Tyler Perry, 50 Cent, 50 Cent. Now I kind of had. I only liked it like one Spike Lee movie, and that was Do the Right Thing. Because I really don't like too many movies made in color. So I'm very critical. uh, I love my black and white movies because you know what? The black and white movies to me, you had to know how to act. It wasn't all that sex to take up half the movie. It wasn't all that cussing to you don't have to go out of your element. And the storylines give you thought process. These movies now, you don't have to think. You just have to look at it. And a lot of these movies now are AI, where they just feed in a few, uh, plot words, and it just comes up with the storyline, and then you put it with the plot and this, whatever. Because the way some of these movies end, you like, I don't get it. All right. Thanks for listening. Y'all have a wonderful day.